All right, we're looking at the Cup Series at Phoenix. I haven't even got to the Cup Series, and I'm already seeing that people are just not a fan of the whole Atlanta before Phoenix. So noted. I guess I'll keep it race by race. I apologize, but it's Thursday. We're kind of just sitting here waiting for Saturday to roll around, trying to come up with stuff for you guys to listen to, and for me to just not, or me to do something productive, because I do have other sheets to make for next week. But just like I said, I've been looking at Atlanta this whole week, and figured I'd go out there and talk about it. Anyway, so let's talk about Phoenix here. And let's talk about a thing that we're seeing this year in terms of caution laps, just real quick. So we're seeing the amount of caution laps go up, and Phoenix 312, good amount of fast laps and laps led out there, but we need to keep note of that, of when we're looking at other intermediate tracks, that we're losing a good portion of fast laps and laps led that we used to have. NASCAR is still, whenever they have a stage in, they go like 7 laps into the next stage. Like at Daytona, a 30-lap stage would end up being like 23, 24, because they'd spend 6 laps under yellow. You know, same thing at the intermediate tracks. They like have the stage yellow, and they're under yellow for like another 8 minutes. Like each stage end is like 10 minutes of just running under yellow. You know, 8 laps being lost, 8 fast laps being lost. The only guy getting points there and all that is the lap leader. So keep that in mind. Maybe not necessarily for Phoenix, but it is something that we need to keep track of. And I talked about it in the Las Vegas review. I'd tell you to check that out. I think it's a very good video, certainly paired up with Pierce's kind of review of Las Vegas and looking back at it as well. I think those two videos go hand in hand really well. But you're already seeing me that I'm quite confident in giving back markers, legit guys under 5K, a top 30 finish. Most likely scoring over 17, sometimes in the 20 points. And so right now I'm telling you, might not be optimal, but moving forward for the rest of this year, there's a good chance I'm always playing a punt lineup. I like BJ McLeod. I like Cody Ware. I like these guys are pretty much the min price. Certainly this week is one of those weeks to where I'm going to be trying to chase as many lap leaders as possible. Nobody's dominating races anymore. Let's really start the evolution of getting rid of the term dominator, because nobody's dominating races anymore. So in terms of building lineups, looking forward, or looking even at Phoenix, I'm looking at lineups to where I'll most likely have at least one guy, probably 5,500 or below, one guy from 6,200 to 5,500, somewhere around there, and then the rest are chasing either place differential plays that are high scores, that guys that I think can also run fast laps, or just chasing guys that I think are going to lead laps and get fast laps. And so when we're looking at this race here, yet again, I'm not showing anything on screen because I don't really have anything to show, but when we're looking at this week here, and I always like to start looking at the bottom up, I like Cody Ware, I like BJ McLeod, I like Todd Gillen. Todd Gillen's underpriced, $4,900. Todd Gillen will probably be very popular. I think he will be. I think he's a good play. I'd rather play him over Michael McDowell. We're seeing McDowell struggle in this package compared to last year when he was doing fairly decent in the high downforce, low horsepower. I like LaJoy. Castle, most likely not going to go for me. Harrison Burton, it'll be interesting. It'll all depend on where Custer starts. I do like Custer at 6,200. He's probably my favorite play in the 6K range, but it'll defer to me of who starts farther back. To be honest, is it Haley? Is it Ty Dillon? Is it Harrison Burton? I'm guessing it'll either be Ty Dillon or Justin Haley. I like those guys. So going through the value range right now, I like Ware, I like BJ McLeod, I like Gillen, I like LaJoy, probably Haley and Dillon. I like Cole Custer at 6,200. Cole Custer's just far too cheap. Not a fan of Bubba Wallace at 64. Not a fan of Suarez at 66 unless they're offering me a ton of place differential. I like Briscoe at 6,900. I like Ricky Stenhouse Jr. at 7,000. I like A.J. Allmendinger at 7,200 because I think A.J. Allmendinger is going to start in the back. I could be wrong. At this point, looking at this year, in my brain, I don't think I'm going to be laying in the 7K range a lot. Just limited upside where we're entering races to where I'm probably going to keep projecting anywhere from 20 to 27 guys going over 5X. And that's how it used to be before, COVID and everything, because we have the pricing released and then qualifying. So we almost always have softer pricing. And so we're going to see a lot of guys who are projecting for 5X who aren't necessarily, top 15 fantasy scorers, top 12 fantasy scorers, whereas that's really the guys I try and want to focus on here. And I'll talk about other stuff when we get kind of through the initial salary release of all these guys here. Dylan, 76, got to see where he starts. Same thing with Cindric. I think this is a place where Cindric can actually perform well compared to the intermediate tracks. I think this will be the first taste to see where Cindric really is in terms of being in this car, being comfortable, because Auto Club is difficult. Las Vegas is going to be struggling for him. This is a place where I want to see if he's going to be comfortable in this car. I talked about how Phoenix is a very driver-dependent track. You see guys that are going to be really good at Phoenix, and you see guys that are going to be really bad at Phoenix. And so this will be a good indication of where Cindric is in that. Eric Almirola, 79, probably, I don't know if I'm going to get to him. Same thing with Chastain, not sure if I'm going to get to him. Bell at 83, is he going to start in the top 10? Most likely. Depends on what we see from practice. And we're seeing from practice, a lot of things are showing up. Like a lot of guys, when you look at 5-lap, when you look at 10-lap averages, that's transferring to the race. And so I'm very confident in believing in practice data, and even believing in practice data to where if somebody's running extremely slow, we can pretty much determine why they're running almost slower than what they should be. So if somebody like, I think Chastain was 20th last weekend, but like if we see Eric Almirola, Chastain, somewhere around one of these guys, running like 28th fastest in practice, something behind that. So like it's not necessarily that's where they're going to be in the race. They're almost running that slow on purpose for some reason. I like Reddick more than Bell right now. Moving forward, I still think this is interesting, man. Ryan Blaney at 9,600, I think he's underpriced. He's one of the more consistent drivers this year so far. Really ran into poor luck this year, just not finishing where he should be finishing right now. Got in the wreck at Las Vegas, ran into issues at Fontana. He's there. He's a top 12 car. And I think this is a place to where Blaney can run 5th, can run 4th. We're just going to have to see what he shows up with. And I like Blaney. I like Blaney right now. I don't mind Byron. I don't mind Harvick. When we start looking at guys, where's Byron at? Let's skip him. Let's see real quick. Consistently, Byron's going to finish 9th. That's where I would probably put Byron. The price is just so soft, man. Like, Larson is too cheap at 11.8. I don't get it. Kyle Busch is just there due to the last week performance, which was very good to see. And Kyle Busch has been extremely consistent, nearly guaranteeing a top 5 finish here from Kyle Busch. Chase Elliott has been fast here. My main concern with Elliott is because it's the same thing that I say every week with the Hendrick boys, is that which this is a race to where, let me try and think of how I want to say this. It's not even necessarily with Larson and Elliott. This is a place where I do think fast laps and laps that are going to be spread out to at least 4-5 drivers, whether it be on pit road, whether people having long run speed, short run speed. I do believe that we're just going to kind of deal with long runs here. I think we're going to have probably a green flag pit stop in stage 3. I'm not sure we're going to have them at any other point in the race, and outside of just one happening, I think we run to a caution, something here, because we also need to figure out what the tires are going to do here. We're running into issues with tires blowing, guys losing tires, guys not being comfortable with what this car and what this tire is doing. We saw Elliott, for an example, at the Goodyear tire test, which yet again, let's kind of pump the brakes. I'm not necessarily looking at those lap speeds and really dying on any hills, but a lot of guys were getting loose out of turn 2 and on turn 4. Yet again, talk about slip angle, the angle or the place where the tire is losing grip against the asphalt and causing the car to spin out. A lot of guys don't know where that is. This is going to be a race to where that's going to come up on you really fast. Short tracks are those places to where if you get loose, it's going to break loose on you. And so I think I believe we're going to see several spins in practice. Not crashes, but this Auto Club was difficult for a lot of drivers. Las Vegas, we saw people spin out. Phoenix is going to be difficult for people to get a hang of what is too loose, where this car is. I think we're going to see a lot of spins in practice. And I think that is going to be something we do continuously see in the race, especially late in the race on a restart, maybe somebody pushing it over the edge. Certainly with the resin that they're spraying on the track, this track is finally worn out. It's taken long enough. They paved it in 2011 because I was at the last race that Gordon won there. And so this track is, the asphalt on this track is nearly 10 years old at this point. It's finally allowing different grooves and stuff. And depending on how you drive this track, you're either going to be around the wall in 1 and 2, or you're going to be almost below the yellow line in 1 and 2. And so there's a lot of different ways to get in here. So off of guys going to be learning where the slip angle is in practice, I believe that this car cannot survive diving onto the apron on the front straightaway. We're seeing part failures. We're seeing this car be extremely sensitive to spins. Like, we're seeing spins of where, sure, guys are having flat tires, but they go into pit road and they're like, nah, man, it's broken. We got to bring it in the garage. We're done for the day. This is a situation where this is going to be a first real test of this car. And I mean, it's not even a real test. We know that this car is fragile, but we saw it last year, even with the Gen 6 of, well, you don't always just want to keep diving onto the apron because you're messing up the side skirts. You're messing up the aerodynamics of the bodies. And for a fact, like we see whenever they dive onto the apron, you see the sparks come off of the undercarriage of the car. You know, this is a sense to where if you're sparking, you're most likely hurting the rear suspension, because the parts that would drag used to be the rear end. You know, not the rear end housing, but the rear end of the frame. And you didn't have to worry about, you know, breaking a lower control arm for your right rear going down onto the apron. That is a real concern here. And I really don't want my driver doing that. Do you do that early in practice, see what it does? I'm sure they're going to go down there, not see anything happen wrong for the first 3, 4, 5 times you go down there, but something's going to break. And that's not me being speculative or, you know, being like, oh, this car is going to fall apart. But that is a major concern of diving into the apron. And so we got to see what happens, because I think that is a clear issue. We're going to see tire failures. We saw tire failures last year, actually throughout the years. Like, we saw them last year as well, but we're going to see tire failures as well. Those cars are not surviving the impacts. You know, the suspensions are not surviving the impacts with the walls when this next gen car. I've been talking about it since January, that the body of this car is hard as can be. It's an exoskeleton, man. We're racing insects. You know, the internals of these cars are just made of styrofoam. They're breaking. Hell, look at Eric Jones's wreck at Las Vegas. Smacked the wall, really no damage to the body, and that right front suspension is just breaking freely. He broke the upper control arm. He most likely tore the spindle off. I'm pretty sure he broke the lower control arm, because when he spins, you see the wheel come back out. I'm pretty sure he broke the spindle. It may have still only been connected by the upper control arm. Not entirely sure, because obviously I didn't take the car apart. But we're breaking components on these cars fairly easy. You hit that wall at a turn 2, you're breaking it. You hit the wall entering turn 1 at a great amount of speed, you're breaking it. That's just the case. You know, I want drivers who are going to be on the edge but not putting in the wall. That's why going to skill, going back to driving or picking drivers that have skill, Kyle Larson is the top cream of the crop. Regardless of what he does, even a bad race like last weekend at Las Vegas is still going to be fine. Larson has talent. Kyle Busch has talent. Ranking these guys in talent-wise, in terms of not spinning the car, let's do that real quick. Let me bring that up. That's what we'll end the ratings on, because I'm still treating everything as a brand new car. I'm not looking at previous races. I'm looking at it like here and there, but I'm like right here. I have the previous races. I have the previous lap by lap data and stuff. I'm choosing to focus on this year. I am not looking at previous stuff. When we look at Cup, let me bring this up here. And let's rank these guys based on skill. Okay, so we'll change this. I know it didn't work last time, but we'll do this in terms of skill rank. So this is in terms of car control, in terms of how safe these guys are, in terms of them not being stupid, them not destroying the cars. Oh, but Brandon, Penske gave the Daytona 500 winning car back. I think Penske just did that because he was just happy to win the 500. They're still low on cars, man. There's still a massive part shortage. God forbid they're still paying for diesel, man. They're paying more for diesel every day. I mean, this stuff is not cheap. It's not like they just magically. Oops, I hit the wrong thing. I apologize. Hold on. Oops, sorry about that. It's not like these guys are just like saving money left and right. They're not. They're still having part shortages. They're tearing up cars left and right. You know, God forbid. Okay, like Kyle Busch was literally on the last car they had for those 2 races over there. Like, these teams are short on time, they're short on parts, and they're short on money. That's just how it is. So anyway, looking at skill rank, trusting what these guys can do, trusting them not getting in the wall, not spinning out. Larson is top dog. Same thing with Busch. I'm worried about Elliott. I think Elliott is going to struggle. And see, this is where I get in terms of, I think, like, oh, he's going to struggle. That doesn't mean, like, I think he's a bad DFS play. I just think head-to-head, he spun out multiple times on the Goodyear tire test. I would not be shocked if Elliott spins out again here. I think Logano's going to be fine. I think Hamlin is going to be fine. I know he's run into trouble here, but he's a good driver. Like, he's run into serious bad luck. I think Truex is fine. Blaney's going to be fine. I think Byron is the guy that might run into issues. When we look back at Kevin Harvick, and okay, I had to go back and find stuff. Sorry it took so long. I don't remember the last word I said. Usually I can continue those sentences, but I can't here. So this is like I said, I want to throw out a lot of data, but it's circumstantial. When we're at a track like Phoenix, to where I do believe previous high horsepower, low downforce cars are going to carry some idea of how people are going to perform, I look specifically at Kevin Harvick. Let's really look at 2016, 2017, 2006. Now, 2014 was high downforce with about 800 horsepower motor. 2015 was about 800 horsepower with high downforce. 2016 was 750 horsepower, low downforce. 2017 was 725, low downforce. Same thing with 2018, but I'm looking at 2016, 2017. When I look at 2016, where did Harvick perform well at? Spring Phoenix race, started 18th, finished first, 139 laps led. When we look at other races that he performed really well at, it was, I think he won Loudon. He did. However, he only led 8 laps there. Not as good as I wanted to see. The Fall Phoenix race, started 4th, finished 4th, didn't lead anything. How did he do in 2017? Started 23rd, finished 6th. For whatever reason, I do remember that he would never qualify very well. Actually, that is, when did he win all these Phoenix races? Was that, it had to be 2014 then. So Harvick, which is why it's always good to do this stuff. Probably not live, but if he was winning all those in the high downforce, he did 2015. Yeah, okay, my bad. Which is why we do this stuff just off the top of my head. So in 2015, the high downforce, high horsepower package, Phoenix in the spring started first, finished first, 224 laps. Phoenix in the fall started 8th, finished 2nd, 143 laps led. I thought those in my brain were 2016 and 2017, not 2015, 2014. 2014, yet again, another year of high downforce, high horsepower. Where are we at? I just fix that. Started 13th, finished 1st, 224 laps led in the spring race. And then in the fall race, started 3rd, finished 1st, 264 laps. And so if you're looking at spreadsheets and stuff, and you see how many wins Harvick have, and in your mind you think back of like, oh, he won those in the high horsepower. He did, but he also won them in the high downforce. When we got to the low downforce, that's when Harvick's domination at Phoenix left. Because yet again, that's why I wanted to like go in here. $9,100. I want to see what he has. I don't think it'll be that dominant performance, but I don't hate Harvick. And in terms of skill, he's going to have the skill. I don't see him messing up. I don't see Kurt Busch spinning out. Concerned about Bowman. Have ran into issues here before. And even Elliott. Elliott has had tire troubles here before. You know how you have tire troubles? By not managing your tires well. A concern that you might have with Larson and Reddick but still, these guys have more skill than Elliott. I think Reddick has the high amount of skill here. I think that's going to show up here. Same thing with Christopher Bell. I think Keselowski's going to be fine, not necessarily for a place, but skill-wise, he's there. Chastain's going to fluctuate. I think he'll either be really good or really bad here. Eric Almirola is a meh. We don't really have anything to see up in the air with Cindric and what he can do. Austin Dillon is a guy that, in my brain, I do want to look back at his finishes here just to get an idea of what has he been doing, because he never pops off to me. He was like Stewart those last years. Never really did anything. So let's check out his last finishes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Last 4.5 years. 15, 17, 18, 36, 24, 21, 8, 17, 14. 15th. No matter what the package was, no matter what he was doing, that's how it is. Skill-wise, he's going to be fine. But I'm looking at probably Dillon running 13th and stuff like that. Eric Jones, I think Eric Jones is going to run good. I think this is leaning more toward what Eric Jones is comfortable with. If he doesn't get involved in a wreck, I think I saw on Twitter, I forgot who tweeted it, but they were like, oh my God, Eric Almirola and Christopher Bell going to be chalk. Dude, if Jones doesn't get involved in a wreck, I think we're saying the same thing about Eric Jones. Eric Jones is showing confidence, showing his ability to race these cars. I'm fine with Eric Jones. He has a ton of skill. Same thing with A.J. Allmendinger. I think he's going to be fine. Stenhouse is going to be fine. Briscoe leans into these guys' wheelhouses. A.J. Allmendinger, Stenhouse, Briscoe, Bell, Reddick, Busch, Harvick, Kyle Busch, Larson. It's leaning into these guys, man. Play guys that have a high amount of skill. Excuse me. Not there for Buescher. Not there for Suarez. Bubba is going to struggle in terms of skill-wise. Same thing with Custer. These guys are just medium. These guys are not above the pack. Same thing back here. We've seen LaJoie be a driver in the past who, it was kind of the same thing with Matt DiBenedetto, but Corey LaJoie looked forward to the high horsepower package last year. Disappointing finishes at Phoenix, but for me and my money, Corey LaJoie, I believe, is a guy who performs better than other guys, certainly at short tracks, and certainly I think he's feeling more comfortable in the high horsepower package. I like that. Michael McDowell just showing that he's not comfortable here. So we're not there for these guys here. But anyway, in terms of skill, and I think we're going to see the skill rank really lean towards like why I would like guys here. And all the A's here are guys that you would expect to run well here, or guys that are at least going to be confident, at least comfortable in their cars. You know, I think that's the main takeaway. Obviously, we'll have practice data from Saturday. I'm thinking I'll probably be live Saturday night messing with stuff. If you want to come hang out again, and then I'll do a live show Sunday morning. But this is a race that I want to play guys that I know have skill. And I know that sounds like a cop-out or like an easy way, like I'm just mailing it in. But it's not. It really does lean up to, if these guys have skill, they're going to perform well at this track, with this car, with this package. They're not going to get in the wall. They're not going to spin out. That's how I look at it. So summarizing, I think we're going to see quite a few spinouts in practice, so I don't know if we're necessarily going to get a long run in practice, which is a concern that I have. I wish we would get more. I think we'll easily have a 15, 20-lap run from some guys, but it depends. If we just keep going back-to-back yellows in practice, then we might not get that type of stuff. But this is where I'm at. I went through all the drivers, kind of said what I thought about them, and then I even kind of ranked their skill here, because I think that's going to be a really important thing to look at this week at Phoenix. And yeah, I think that's a great place to start your research, or at least listen to this, get an idea, and then, you know, maybe confirm or deny some of this stuff from practice, and then we can look at practice data and make projections from that and everything, you know. So if you like any of these videos, certainly if you like the Las Vegas one, I got a lot of feedback on Las Vegas one. I know a lot of people like that, but I got to see it, that people want to see that, and I'll keep doing it every week if that's the case. I just need at least feedback on that type of stuff. Or if you guys, however you guys want the like early week projections like this, or not projections, but previews, because like, sure, I'm in a spreadsheet, but you know, we just have salaries. I like looking at practice data. I like talking about stuff. But What do you guys want to see? I might listen, I might not, but do you guys just want to see more reviews on the previous week when we're at this point in the week? Do you just want previews for this week? How do you guys want them? Do you just want shorter videos? Do you want me to shut up? Do you want me to stop being funny? Whatever the case is, let me know in the comment section below, and we'll listen to you guys, and we'll see you guys in live shows this weekend. So see you then.